If you automate your turnouts on your model railroad, chances are you're going to want to use one of these two switch motors here, the Cobalt or the Tortoise, and I'm going to show you the differences in them, the similarities in them, and you know I'm going to tell you what I think about them. So here we go. I'm Tom Kovichak, and this is Tom's Trains and Things. This channel was created to help other modelers who are in need of guidance in pursuing their dream of building a model railroad. And if you have turnouts on there and you want to automate it, you have a couple of choices. Now, there's more choices than the Tortoise and the Cobalt, but I'm going to discuss the differences and the similarities of the two right here. Now, as you can see, the Cobalt is just a little bit smaller than the Tortoise in every dimension. Yeah, right there. And then this, I accidentally drilled a hole in the top of my last Tortoise. But anyway, don't do this at home. But luckily, it didn't go all the way through. With the Cobalt switch machine, you get this little cushion here, and you could also use this as a template for your holes when you're mounting it underneath your layout. It's just a foam rubber that has adhesive on both sides. Now with the Tortoise, you get a template that's printed out on the page, but you could make your own template, and they also sell a template. But I just took some styrene and I traced out the holes, and I cut it into the styrene. And what I do is, right now I have it, it's all dirty right now, but I have the transfer tape on it. And so you could just take that off and put a new transfer tape on it, and you mount it up on the bottom of your layout. And I'll do a demonstration on the mounting of the switch machines in another video, but we're just going to compare these right here. Okay, the few things that I've seen on the Cobalt. Now, I don't have any of these mounted on my layout as yet, and in another video I'm going to show you how to mount this one, and I'm going to show you how to mount the Tortoise switch machine. But on the Cobalt Classic Omega, you have two different ways that you could mount it. The conventional way, where you can mount it where your wire comes up through, or you could mount it on its side. Also on the Cobalt, you have the little board on there that sticks out. Okay, you have a little switch on it where you could adjust if you're using anywhere from 6 to 12 volts or 12 volts up to 18 volts. You could switch it if you're using larger scales. And also you have the push in to hook up your wires. Now, if you don't like soldering, this is a good thing to have right here, because all you have to do is push the wire in, hold back on the little clip and push the wire in, and you're good to go. But I have this one tinned, so I'm not sure. It says don't tin it, but there it is. It's good and tight. All right, and that's all you have to do to connect them. They're clearly marked on here and also on the bottom. The only thing that I don't like about it is, I've been in electronics all my life and electrical work, and you have a wiring diagram. And on a wiring diagram, if you have a switch, you have a common, a normally open, and a normally closed. On here it says common, left and right. The little user manual, which you get with the Cobalt, it will tell you right over here, for the common, turnout frog, right rail, left rail, and then common, left and right. Well, that doesn't tell you if it's normally open or normally closed. That's the problem I have with this. You just have to figure it out by using a meter on it to say which one it is. And they don't really give you any wiring diagram anywhere. They just give you the wires coming out and tell you what it is. They don't show you a switch where there is a switch. And what I had an issue with on here also was on pin number 3. Okay, it says use this wire for LED signals or system feedback. Okay, but I had to figure it out myself how to use it. Okay, nowhere in here or on the website they tell you how to use it. For somebody that isn't versed in electrical work or electronics or doesn't know anything about electrical will have an issue with this right here. They're going to have to go on a YouTube video and find out how to do it. And that's what we're going to show you how to do right here. The output of pin number 3 is half of what the input is. So if you're using 12 volts on pin 1 and 2 to operate the Cobalt switch machine, the output on pin number 3 is going to be half of that. And I'm going to show you a little demonstration here where I used LEDs in between 1, 2, and 3 to give you a green and red indication showing you which direction the switch machine is in. You could also do that on pin number 1. There's many ways that you could do it. And you could do it that way also on the Tortoise. So that's my observation of the Cobalt. And I'll give you a little bit more when I have it hooked up down below. Now on the Tortoise switch machine, okay, it's a lot larger. You have the edge of a circuit board. There are no connectors on it. You could solder your wires directly on the circuit board. There's a hole in each one and you could wire it in, or you can buy various connectors for it. I have these right here. I got these at Bill's Train and Track, and they're inexpensive. They're not made especially for Tortoise. They're a generic plug for any end card with 8 pins on it. And what I do on there is I take a little, as you can see on the edge of there, I put a little toothpick on the side so the switch machine is lined up properly, because the connector is a little bit bigger and you could slide it back and forth. So I always put it, and if you like, you could put it on, a toothpick on either side of that. On here you have a wiring diagram. They show you how to bend the wire. They give you a diagram on how to bend the wire and where to bend it. They also give you a wiring diagram for everything on here and show you how to hook it up. Let's hook these things up and take a look at them down on my bench right here. I got LEDs, I got all kind of goofy looking stuff hooked up to it so you could see it in operation. I'll have both of them running together. I'm going to do a little demonstration right here, and let me find something to point with so I could show you what's going on here. I have both the Cobalt and the Tortoise hooked up to 12 volts. Here's the negative and here's the positive 12 volts. I have it going through the switch so I could reverse it. I have the power leads coming over here, and from here going directly to the Tortoise. Okay, now I have it jumpered over here, and you can see I have 2 diodes right here, the red and the, or LEDs right there, the red and the green. This is coming off of pin 3, so whatever you see on here is coming off of pin 3, which is half the voltage of what's going in. So 12 volt is going in on the black and white wires on pin 1 and 2, and your LED signal from pin number 3 on this one will light up these 2 LEDs right here. Now these 2 square LEDs that I have right here, I have on the 12 volt directly, and then I have the resistor on there, and I have them reversed, so whenever it's in one direction you have one lit up, and the other direction the other one's lit up. Everything's equal. You got 12 volts going in. The only thing on this one, on the Cobalt, you have 6 volts coming out to power these 2 LEDs. So let me turn the power supply on, and then you could see that you have those lights lit up right there. These 2 are in the same direction, and I'll reverse them right here. And you see that the LED's reversed. And you can see that the Tortoise switch machine goes just a little bit faster. Okay, I'm going to take these two LEDs out from here so there's nothing interfering with the signal wire to see if still the Tortoise goes faster. Yes, and the Tortoise still goes faster. I'll disconnect the Tortoise and we'll listen to the sound on this one here. Now I'm sure once you get the rubber on it, and you know, this is what they give you to deaden the sound of it, but I'm sure that once you have it mounted, it's not going to make as much noise. But right out of the box and with nothing attached, it's you know, it's pretty loud right there. But anyway, let me disconnect I'll just disconnect one of them so you can hear the difference. Now on the Tortoise, it's not as loud as the Cobalt. In my opinion, I like the Tortoise switch machine over the Cobalt. Even though the Cobalt is much smaller, it is noisier. They added an extra set of gear reduction in there, so you cannot center this when you're installing it. And on the Tortoise, you can see how easy it is to adjust it in the center when you're installing it, and I'll show you that on the next video. The Cobalt stall amperage is 30 milliamps, where the Tortoise is 16 milliamps. Therefore, you could only use half as many on a power supply as you can on the Tortoise. And another thing, I checked on their website and there is no attachments that goes with this one. This is the Cobalt Classic Omega. So if you have a situation where you can't mount this directly underneath a turnout, you're going to run into a problem where you're going to have to make up your own jig. Tortoise has an attachment, remote Tortoise mount. And that also will allow you to operate two turnouts with one switch machine, which you can't do with this unless you make your own jig. So you be the judge of it. I'm a little bit biased because I have 18 of these, actually 17 of these installed. I have one more to go, and I'll put it on one of the turnouts where I don't have a switch machine now, going into one of the industries. If you like ease of putting your wires on there, I would say go for this. That seems to be the only advantage of this, because it's more expensive than the Tortoise. It comes from Australia. If you need to send it out for repairs, you got to send it to Australia. This, you send it to Illinois. So I'll let you decide. We have some more videos coming out with LEDs, and I'm going to show you on the breadboard how to hook them up so you could light your buildings or any other effect on your model railroad. So take a look for them. They're coming up in the future. Once we get back on schedule, I'll have 3 videos up every week like I did before. So take a look for them. They'll be here. If you would like to see more videos like this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And while you're at it, ding that bell. That'll notify you whenever I have a new video coming out. Check out my playlist. Check out my Patreon page, patreon.com/Tom Kvichak, where you could support this channel and my webpage. I have to buy supplies to do these instructional videos, and that costs money that I don't have. So go ahead and be a patron and support this channel. Thank you. We'll have some more videos coming out in the near future. Like I said before, I don't know exactly when they'll be, but we'll get back on the schedule like we did before, pre-Irma. Okay, we'll see.